With our new Chuck Norris joke Laravel command in place, let's see how we can create a test for this specific command. Since, well, we're using a facade and this is sort of like a static call, but as I said, it's pulling something out of the container. So how can we actually create a test for this in our package? So as I said, we are using this Orchestra test bench package, which is a testing suite for Laravel packages, and we can make use of this in our tests. So if we go and create a new test, let's say namespace will be Chuck Norris jokes test, and then we have a class Laravel test, and this is now going to extend the test case. So let's save this first. Now if we want to include the test case class, this is now going to be the Orchestra test bench test case. All right. And now this Orchestra test bench package comes with a few helpful methods on how we can make use of our facade, how we can include it in here, and how we can load service providers. So if we go to the documentation, there we see that we have one method called getPackageProviders. And this is a method that defines which service providers we want to have loaded in this test. So in our case, it would be the Chuck Norris jokes service provider. And import the class. Okay. Next, we still want to define the alias, so the facade. And there we have the getPackageAliases method. So then we can add this as well. And in here we have a facade called Chuck Norris, and this points to the Chuck Norris joke facade class. So we're going to import this as well. Okay. Now we have the basic setup for our test. So our test suite now knows it's running in a Laravel context. It knows that we have this service provider loaded, and it also knows about our facade. All right. So the test would be public function the console command returns a joke. Then add test so that PHP unit knows this is the test that we want to run. Okay, so what are we actually going to test? We will call the artisan command Chuck Norris. Then we want to get the output of this artisan command. We can use the artisan facade for this, like this, and import the facade. And then we want to assert that, well, some joke is equal to the output of this artisan call. Now, if we run this, we will see that, of course, this is not working. So if we run the test, this is failing because we expect some joke and the actual output is empty. So that's because we need to tell testbench that we do not want to mock the console output. So we can do this by calling this without mocking console output. All right, now if we run the test again, we see that we assert that the result of this command is some joke. But instead, of course, we are going to get the actual API callback. So if we run the test again, we will see a different joke. Now, how can we actually go and test this now? The nice thing about using the facade inside of our command is that we can easily mock things inside of our facade class. So what we can do is we can say Chuck Norris, so the facade, should receive get random joke. It should receive it once, and then it should return some joke. And of course, we still need to import the facade in here. Now, if we go and run this test again, Well, this looks a lot better. So we expect to get the output some joke, but instead we get the output some joke and then a new line. And that's because in our command, we have this info which automatically appends a new line after the output. So that's quite easy to fix. So then we just assert that we have end of line character after some joke. And if we run this again, our tests are green. Perfect. So now we have created a test for our custom Laravel command. And by mocking our facade, we have kept it easily testable, even though we are using a, well, it seems to be at the first a static call.